Like and subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates.
WA Budget 2022-23, Premier Mark McGowan delivers cash splash, says other states will be green with envy at surplus. West Australian Premier Mark McGowan suspects his interstate counterparts will be green with envy after he delivered a strong surplus of $5.7 billion for the state. A year after he gloated he had been vindicated with the financial success of his COVID-19 measures and the hard border, the Premier again said his critics had been wrong, as he revealed WA's net debt had fallen for a third year to $29.9 billion in 2021-22. A $1.6 billion surplus is forecast in 2022-23, with surpluses expected across the forward estimates too. I suspect they, other treasurers, will be green with envy, Mr McGowan told reporters on Thursday. Some of them will look like they swallowed a bumblebee. The reality is WA has supported all of them during a difficult period. WA was the only state reducing debt, the Premier added. The iron ore price, which is WA's biggest moneymaker, is at $139.50 per tonne in 2021-22, and is expected to be $77.5 per tonne in 2022-23. The forward estimates then have it budgeted as $66 per tonne. Iron ore prices have gone up, and our revenue has increased, Mr McGowan said. We budgeted very conservatively and very carefully. Referring to the GST revenue carve-up, Mr McGowan said other jurisdictions had not suffered a single cent in lost revenue. If their finances are in a dire straits, they need to look in the mirror, he said. Changes to the GST distribution in 2018, under then Federal Treasurer Scott Morrison, ensures WA keeps at least 70% of every dollar of revenue collected. Mr McGowan said GST reform had helped WA, but the state would still lose $2.5 billion to support other states this year. Without the reform, WA would only get 15.8 cents in every dollar in 2022-23 and an estimated 1 cent in 2023-24, he added. In delivering his second state budget as Treasurer, Mr McGowan said his government was focused on the cost of living. He also announced big spending on health amid concerns the system is in crisis, although the Premier describes it as under strain. Households will be slugged an extra $243.59 per year for utilities and other fees, but Mr McGowan said it was the third consecutive year of below CPI increases in household charges. Electricity and water charges will go up by 2.5%, while Transperth and Transwa standard fares will increase by 2%, but student fares remain frozen at 70 cents. In a significant boost for struggling people, every household will get a $400 electricity credit, at a total cost of $445 million to the budget. The emergency services levy charge will also rise by 5%, or $14.17, in 2022-23. Motor vehicle charges will go up 3.4%, or a total of $31.06. Mr McGowan said it was overall a 3.8% decrease in fees and charges in 2022-23. He also noted the state's free rapid antigen test program had saved about $150 per household. Asked why he did not freeze household fees given cost of living pressures, Mr McGowan said, the cost of providing services continues to grow. The Premier announced a record $2.5 billion spend for health, including $630 million in hospital services spending, $252 million to reform emergency department capacity and $181 million for mental health services. It also includes 530 new beds, 512 additional doctors and 1,456 extra nurses. The state government has provided $11.2 billion in COVID-19 response measures, including $1.6 billion in this budget. Mr McGowan told reporters his aim was to improve the health system, vowing to leave no stone unturned. We're attracting additional staff, and will continue to do that. With open borders we can work towards attracting additional staff from interstate and overseas, he said. But it's not an easy thing to do and it will take time. The Premier indicated vaccine mandates would remain in place for the foreseeable future. Mr McGowan boasted the WA economy was the strongest of all jurisdictions during the pandemic, with a growth of 7.2%. The domestic economy is forecast to grow by 5.25% in 2021 to 22 and by 4% in 2022 to 23. Gross state product is also expected to increase by 3.75% this year, which is the strongest since 2013-14. Spending has remained strong during the pandemic, with annual retail trade 22.5% above pre-COVID levels. Victoria and NSW, by comparison, had huge drops due to lockdowns. Budget papers also show WA provides half the nation's exports. Meanwhile, WA has the lowest unemployment rate in the nation and is at a 13-year low of 3.4%. It is projected to average 3.75% in 2022 to 23 and over the forward estimates. Wages are also expected to rise from an estimated 2% in 2021 to 22 to 2.75% in 2022 to 23. Mr McGowan further announced a 50% land tax concession for new build-to-rent projects from July 1 next year. A stamp duty rebate of up to 100% will be available for eligible